Shemini Atzeret is the great mystery of the Jewish religious calendar. We can understand Pesach, we come out of Egypt, we can understand Sukkot. As I understand it, is a marriage with Hashem. We are under a chuppah. I believe the chuppah comes from the sukkah. We celebrate for 7 days like the Sheva Brachot. We take the symbols, and you can look up on my Substack, Joseph J. Cox and Substack. We take the symbols of our relationship together and we dance and joy and we circle our Creator and we celebrate this. So the Yaakov Sukkah was the place where he took his animals out of the animal sphere and gave them houses and moved them up a level. Likewise, God's Sukkah for us is a chance for us to move up a level. But what is Simchat Torah? What are we doing with Simchat Torah? What are we doing with Shemini Atzeret? There are no symbols. There's nothing that's required. You could say on one level we are moving in with Hashem, and I think that's entirely true. We become like a husband and a wife. We're playing the wife role, Hashem playing the husband role. But it's not the only way to look at this. In fact, there's another Shemini holiday that we often forget about, Shemini Atzeret, which occurs at the end of Pesach. It occurs when the Jewish people are liberated from Egypt, the crossing of the sea. But before they're liberated, they're encircled, they're pressured. They feel like they have no place to go. They feel like they cannot survive. And only then do they push through the waters and find another reality on the other end. Now, at that time, the Jewish people are like slaves. There are other realities, being able to be like human beings, creating for 6 days and resting on the seventh in the image of God, our Creator. So on Shvi'i Atzeret, we transition into the regular world, the world in which the week is 7 days, in which we cycle through life in that way. That's a wonderful and important transformation. But we have Shemini Atzeret as well. And the word Atzer means to be restrained, to be held back, just like the waters held us back and the Egyptian forces who were surrounding us held us back. That was Shvi'i Atzeret. In Shemini Atzeret, we had no idea what to apply to it. We said, okay, let's make it a holiday to celebrate the Torah. Let's make it a holiday for this and that and the other. There's all sorts of interpretations, all sorts of minhagim. There are no laws that say you have to do X or Y or Z. There are different approaches to this holiday all over the world. But I think in the last few years, we've finally begun to understand what Shemini Atzeret was really about. Because on Shemini Atzeret 2 years ago, we were surrounded again, not just by Egyptians. We were surrounded by Hamas. We were surrounded by Hezbollah. We were surrounded by Syria. We were surrounded by Palestinian terrorists and Palestinian forces. We were surrounded by the Houthis shooting at us from afar, and by Iran ultimately with a nuclear missile meant to come from above and erase us. We were pressured and pushed and constrained. And we were unable to fix these problems because nobody gave us, forget the rest of the world's opinion, forget the license to do what we needed to do. We ourselves did not have the ability to do what was needed to be done because we were afraid. We were frozen like the people waiting at the waters. Shemini Atzeret 2 years ago enabled us to break through. Enabled us to one by one with the leadership that we've had, and I've criticized our leadership. Nonetheless, the leadership we've had has one by one enabled us to take down the dominoes and cross the waters again. Only this is not Az Yashir Moshe, which is the first song of the Torah. This is the second song, Az Yashir Yisrael, the one where the waters are us, where we represent Hashem's spirituality in the world and spread it through the world, cutting new channels the divine in our existence. Shemini in the Torah is the time when things are completed, when the Brit Milah is done and we join the population, when the priests are inaugurated, the inauguration is completed on the 8th day, when people are purified, they're purified on the 8th day. It's a symbol of completion. As we exit this war, please God, as we come to a time of peace, please God, we should remember that our goal is not just to live 7 days a week in the image of God, creating for 6 and resting on the 7th. Our goal is to bring the world to a better place. It is not to go back to the status quo that existed without the ring of fire, without all the threats posed by Iran and its proxies and by other enemies. It is not simply to go back to that. Our goal is to create something new and something better. It is to create a society that is aiming to complete the world and make it a better place. Now, I'm not a strong believer in Mashiach. I don't think there is an ideal society. I don't think we should be completely unified. I think that actually the diversity of opinions and approaches we have adds tremendously to our society. Whether you're secular or Haredi or in between or something else entirely, we end up mishing and mashing and smushing and gushing, and all sorts of wonderful things are created by that friction. Nonetheless, if we can appreciate each other just a little bit more, so the friction is not cancerous, where we feel a need to erase other versions of our people, but instead where we mutually build on our diverse viewpoints and perspectives. If we can achieve that, and then we can extend that idea and that philosophy to those who surround us, then perhaps we'll be able to achieve a Shemini Atzeret, a release not only from our enemies, but an opening into a new reality in which the Jewish people can become a blessing for the world. That should be our aspiration, not simply peace and security for us, but a reality in which the entire world is blessed. May you have a wonderful and a joyous holiday. May we celebrate with our God, and may all of humankind be blessed.